Okay, here's my cat. So thank you so much for coming to meet with me today about the Automated Psych Report. Basically, just get to share a little bit about what I'm excited about, the improvements that I've made on this report. And so let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can everyone see? Okay, should be showing up now. Oh, yeah, cool. All right, so basically, I decided to use a Google Sheet a while back because Google Sheets has integration with Google, of course, and so there's a lot of benefits to having that. Basically, you can use this report on any device. You can like turn on your microphone on your phone and it can write in it. You can work on it real time. You can give Google Forms to people and it will integrate to this sheet. So basically, I just decided that I would undergo this, and with each like new formula, I learned like it was a new discovery. So I just kept building upon what I had. So basically, whenever you get the report, you would first start off with doing file make a copy of it. So because that your original is the master copy. So let's see. And then what you can do is just change the title of it, obviously. And that part's really easy. Let's see here. I'll close that old one, the original. So once this gets loaded up, normally it's a lot faster because like we're on a Google Meet. So you can see the loading bar right there doing its best. But while it's loading, I can tell you a little bit more about it. So the top left is like the master of all the buttons, and you click on that, and then you can basically change everything in the form at one time. So if you wanted to change the font, you could go here and change the font. Or if you wanted to remove all of the highlights, you can click on that button. Oh, there it is. And then it can basically remove all the highlighted portions, which is great. So I added note parts to each of those cells where there might be confusion. So let me see. So for example, when I hover over this one, it says like, oh, this is how you add an image if you wanted to add the logo of your school or your district. And you don't need to have those notes there. You can delete those as well, but it's just kind of a nice guide. And then this one is set up if you wanted to put your district. So basically, I'm just going through it piece by piece, and shouldn't be too long, but it's basically like really intuitive. So that's automatically put in there from your menu. And then you double click and you can choose what type of report you're going to be doing. So there's a lot of drop down options. And then this is like where you put the student's name. I put John as an example, and I marked it so that way you make sure you put that in there, because whatever your name is there, it populates in throughout the whole form. So that's pretty cool. And then the last name here. And let me know if you have any questions, by the way. Let's see. And then the grade, you can choose, let's say 9th grade. And you can choose the placement that the student's in. Usually not general ed, but if it's an initial. And then this birth date, basically like that is attached to the chronological age down below. So like it would be like that's calculated automatically. And that shows up right there, 7 years, 3 months. So all of these are like drop-down menus, easy to work with. And the date of the report, I made it so that it automatically says the current date. So if you print it, then you just be like that, but you can change the date too. So just basically I looked throughout the form or any report and looked for any possible ways I can make shortcuts. So right here you put down the pronouns, so you can put whatever pronoun there is, and then it will all those will be like kind of aligned with it. And then to hide it, then you click the minus sign. So there's two different options in the form. There's the minus plus and minus little drop down things I made on the left, and then there's also an option called hiding it. So I recommend those over deleting it, because then it's just a little bit faster. So while my phone is okay. So then this part is the reason for referral, and you can drop down here, or you can type in like a specific person who referred the student. So it doesn't have to be one of these choices. It automatically goes into a little blurb down below. And then you can right click on the different areas that there was a concern. Or if you have a specific option that isn't listed there, then you can write that in there too. And that will be in it. And then there's different evaluation areas that they're going to cover. And if there's another area, you can type that in as well. So a lot of customizing that you can do. And then you click here, and then that's written out here for someone to use. So it's a really different orientation to writing a report. It's more like clicking and fill in the blank type things for certain areas. And then there's like unlimited options for us to do like higher end evaluation. And that's what I like about it. In here, you can choose from a drop down. And so what I like about this is that if you're just trying to like look for a certain report, like the WISC, then you can just type in the first letters and then it pops up like that. So all of the automated reports and tests that I have are in this menu. And then on the right, whatever date you input this test, basically that's what pops up. So I can do behavior assessment scale. And then to the right, it has your date just in case. So like I was saying before, like there's two different ways to delete things on the form, and one of them is hiding it. So you just left click and then right click, and you can hide the row. And then if you change your mind, then you can click on those little arrows right there. So there's not really those moments where you made a mistake or you deleted something and then you're like, oh no, like I ruined it. So you can always press the back arrow here or click here. There's a lot of different ways to like not lose anything that you've done. So here's the health and developmental information. And so I put little notes for each more blank or like confusing area in case you're wondering like what to put here. So it's just going to guide you through that process. And let's say the parent has a history of alcohol use and you want to describe what happened, you type in a full sentence. Alcohol. You wouldn't probably write it like this, but just an example of a sentence. And then you just fill in the different blanks here and put in a diagnosis if there were any history of diagnosis. And you don't have to type in any of these sections. You can choose to put in what you want and vice versa. So we could just say that the student was diagnosed when he was 5 years old. And then history of surgeries or accidents, you could do ear infection. And if you don't have this information, you don't need to put it in there. Or you could just say the student was took antibiotics or something. I don't know. And once you're done with that, then it's the same thing. You press the minus and all of that is populated. And if you want to write anything else, then you can feel free. There's plenty of unlimited space for history. So I think antibiotics is one word. Oops. Okay. Classroom performance history. The grade level is automatically inputted. And so I have 3 different grade levels that you could put in there. So grade 8 is automatically calculated, and then grade 7. And then you can type in there. So just another shortcut. And here it also has populated areas where it says John took the English language arts assessment. I'm not sure if it's always relevant to your state, but this is based on California. So, and then these are the grades that are automatically put in there too. So you don't have to go back that far with standardized test, but that's just an option. And there's drop downs too, just in case. And here is the attendance history. And so this is automatically calculated too. And it calculates the different percentage of attendance. So you don't have to do that. So they're absent 30 days, and that's the percentage. Doesn't seem that much when you think of it, 84%, but it is for us. Okay, so that's attendance history. And the next one is special education history. So you can type in the date of the initial if you want, and what eligibility. And then here you would put full summary paragraph form of the different tests and results. And double click what placement were they put in as a result of the IEP. And then here you there's different services. And so just like the drop down with the tests, you can begin typing. And so let's say you're looking for counseling, and it's just that easy. So, and then you can put in the minutes that they were in counseling per week or per month, whatever way you have it. And here you can put in different services that were not listed. And then here you can put in anything like if there were any amendment IEPs or things like that, emergency IEPs, you can type as long as you want and it'll be there. And I have it so that you can put in tries and quite a bit of different triennials that it can go into. And once you're done, you would just do the minus plus thing, and it will have that typed out for you. And so this is just a different orientation, but I found it to be a lot faster. It's just a lot more straightforward. There's not so much guesswork, and it's a lot more standardized. So there's a lot of benefits to it. I think my cats are fighting. Okay. Right here, there's 504 history and other different things that you might put in there. This is drug and alcohol history. So if there wasn't any drug and alcohol history, you can just do that. Or you can type in here and you can just type in what age the student was when they were using alcohol. And if you have a range in mind, you can do that too, but you could just put like they started using alcohol at age 15, and that's all you know, so that's okay. So all of these are voluntarily, if you want to put it in, you can. And then there's drug types, drug use, so you can type it in. Let's see, marijuana or something. Yeah, it's a common one. So that's there as well. And then when you're done, you just put that there as well. This works very similarly with the juvenile court involvement, things like that. DCFS involvement, that has things like that too. When he was 2, and then as you can see, like to 4 years old. So that's just another thing you can do. The next part is the interview section. And I really like this one because it's just very straightforward and you don't have to ask all of the questions in it. So you can ask, who do you live with in the home? And there's different notes, so that way you put it in the right way. Mother and father, what do you like to do for fun? What's your favorite thing at school? And then once you're done asking the student the questions, you could literally be asking the questions at this time. Then it's written out this way for you. So it's a lot easier. And I also have it so it's not kind of robotic where it's just says, John did this, John did this. It also has the uppercase he and things like that, pronoun. This works very similarly with a parent interview or guardian. And you can choose to ask any or all of these different questions. And once you're done, it's the same thing. And those are the different narratives that you get. And this one is the teacher input section. And this is attached to a Google form. And I didn't use a Google form for the teacher or the parent or the student because a lot of times the parent or the student may not know exactly how to answer the question and needs follow-up. And so it seems like it adds more work to do Google Forms that way. This is from my experience. And so with teachers, though, I made it pretty clear. And you just click on that, and then it'll direct you to make your own a form, basically. And the form has all the questions already in there, and so you can edit it and delete the questions you may not use, things like that. So see, it says make a copy of the teacher input form and make a copy. So I gave it the option of up to 6 teachers since I work at a high school that's usually as much as I ask. And you can send out this Google form to all of your teachers and they'll send it back to you, and then you can just fill in here what they responded with. And once you're done filling those out, then same thing. And then it has how they responded. So I made it with a bullet point instead of a narrative portion, because when you are writing out unsatisfactory, needs improvement, it really can look, it just doesn't look good on the narrative. There's a section for recommendations they want, things like that. And so I'm happy with how that one's turned out. Okay. Next, behavior observations. And so this is just calculated there. And you can just type in how long the observation was, where it was, adults in the classroom, students in the classroom, very basic. I'm excited to add more to it to make it even more automated, because I know that some behavior observations can be somewhat standardized. So I'm reusing that. But this is just a good start, and then you can type in as long as you wish to describe what happened. And the lunchtime observation works the same way, and you can copy paste this if there's going to be more than one observation. There's different testing behaviors that you can just type in. This is just a bell curve. It's just for looks, I guess. And it has descriptions of the scores here that are already there. So this is a chart that basically is automated to whichever cognitive test that you give. And it only works if there's only one cognitive test that you're administering. But I thought it's pretty nice because if you do the whisk, for example, this automatically pops up and has all the scores lined out like that. So I'm just going to show you how the whisk one looks in case you haven't seen that before. So you just type in all of these different scores. Things like that. And then these are all calculated too. And so like the percentile and the description is automatically put in, and then the interval is something that you'd have to put in too. But once you're done with that, then you have the option, you can do, if there's any weaknesses or strengths, you can indicate that, and that will be in those narrative sections. And once you're done with that, then that's the full WISC write-up, which of course you can add more analysis to it if you'd like. And so that's all filled in, and it takes like less than a couple minutes to do all that part. So that's definitely, oh, here you can see the strength. So I have a number of different cognitive tests. I think, well, total I have at least 38 automated tests that you can use. So these are other charts that I have that are just an option. So you can delete them when you're not using them, but I basically lined it up so that if you administer the TVPS, for example, then that automatically goes on that chart. You don't have to worry about it making it, and it's just up to you. So I just do different scale scores depending on what it is. And then overall, and then you're done. So that's the TVPS write-up. And so it also has the descriptions of the different subtests. So that way that's written in there too in the analysis. And all of these different results from the WISC and the TVPS, for example, will show up in your automated summary. That way you don't have to like completely keep repeating yourself. And so that's kind of one of the frustrations with reports. Like I already said, it was 100 average range. And so that's kind of nice that you get to do that. There's a BASC-3 I can show you. So I made this BASC-3. This is for teachers and parents and things like that. So you would just type in the different names of the rating person there, and then whatever their scores were. And then if it's considered at risk, then that will be listed down below. And if it's considered, see, hyperactivity, clinically significant, then that would be listed below too. So all of these names here are aligned with what's up top here. And if they didn't get a scale, then they're not going to be listed there. So that's a BASC, and then that will be also in the summary section as well. And I also have academic achievement tests, and for example, the Y-4. And I've already put in different scores here, so that's all aligned here and fast. It's kind of weird. I know you're there, but I can't hear anyone. All right. Oh, yeah, they're not gonna have a score for 0. So yeah, once you're finished putting in all the information here, then it will be, you also have the option to describe any strengths or weaknesses, just kind of like how the WISC was. So not all of the tests have that, but eventually I want to add something like that for each one. And so all of these scores are reflected here, so you don't have to repeat it. And it says what, if it's in the low range and, or whatever range it qualifies for, and then percentile. So all of that is finished real quick. This is for a speech and language pathologist, which I'm working on actually adding a speech and language pathologist section here for them to be able to do a multidisciplinary report with you. It's just so much easier for everyone to be able to edit it all at one time. That's one of the great things about Google. And so I'm excited to add that pretty soon. I've been adding it already. And here we have the primary eligibility. So you can just double click or you can type it in to see which one. So I just type in the whatever it starts out with, and then it pops up here, the description of it. And if there's no secondary eligibility, just delete that, and that is blank. And then if you want to hide it, that's just like this. So that's gone. This is just kind of a breakdown of what happened during our report. It describes the WISC test. It talks about the TVPS here. It doesn't have all of the scores, of course, because I know that with most summaries, we don't want to add everything, but just the main scores are added there. And then if you want to include more analysis, then you have that option to do as long as you want. And so all of those aspects are included. Then this is automated, that talks about the eligibility. And then they have the accommodations menu. Oops. That's where I got it, the website, for in case people are wondering. And you can just click on these to find which accommodations are most fitting. And I'm going to look forward to making it so that it's kind of according to eligibility. So that's coming around the bend. And the good thing is, like, anyone who has the report gets to take part of all the different improvements, because I like to get the feedback and make it as best as I can. So these are the different menus. And so once you're done with that, it's the same thing. You would press the minus button and like that, and then hide it, because the reason I have it there is just so that the person can figure out what's going on there. So you can just hide it. And then it has them listed down here with bullet points. And yeah, that's basically it. So I don't know, do you have any questions?
We both put a couple of questions in the chat. So.
Oh, let's see it. Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay, we didn't want to interrupt.
Thank you. Okay, let me see, where is the... Okay, I will look at those really quick. Okay, is the day C on your assessments list? I do not have it on there currently, but you can always email me your template and any score descriptions and things like that, and I can add it in there. So that's, I can always keep adding whatever ones that you don't see there.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, and the list of it. Oh, is there a list of tests? Yes, on the website, there's a lot of. It basically has a breakdown of all of the tests that I have in there now. So I don't know if you know the website that I have, innovatereports.com. So
thank you. I'll check that out.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of keep adding to it, but for me, it's just more of a passion and maybe like a nerd thing, because I like to be able to figure out, like, it's like a puzzle, kind of like just being able to see like what else can I make easier. So yeah, maybe I'll stop presenting and
I tell you what, I make a lot of Google Sheets, and I have to say this is really impressive. Like,
oh, thank you.
Because I know what it takes to make those rules and things, and how sometimes you figure out